So again, when we look at this, there's a couple of different ways that we look at GDP. If we take GDP and divide it by the population, we end up with GDP per capita, per person, if you will. And in looking at it, is it a perfect measure? And so Robert Kennedy kind of talked a little bit about this idea of GDP because it doesn't really measure some of the things that make life worthwhile. I think it was Kierkegaard that said that which is essential is invisible to the eye. So GDP does not value things like the quality of the environment, leisure time, non-market activities, and does it provide for an equitable distribution of income? And I think we can fairly say that it does not. So then why do we care about GDP? Well, because it's positively correlated, meaning when GDP goes up, the following things go up as well. Literacy rates, which we know if we can have higher literacy rates, then we can have individuals that have an ability to pull themselves from their current standard of living perhaps to a higher one. Internet usage, and that's interesting, especially when we talk about the connectedness, like for example, just during this coronavirus, internet usage. This has been an issue and it remains an issue because there are certain areas which do not have internet. And so that can be a really big detriment, particularly to learning, networking, socializing, and all the things that we do on the internet. Life expectancy is another one. So we tend to see the higher that the nation's GDP, the higher their life expectancy. But these three things don't really talk about quality of life. And so if you're interested, the country of Bhutan has a gross national happiness index. You can click on this. And I'm going to go ahead and do that because I want to show you a couple of things that they look at in terms of are things working out or not. And so interesting, these are some of the things that they look at: psychological well-being, health, education, again, health, life expectancy, education, leisure time, cultural diversity, good governance, community vitality, ecological diversity and resilience, and living standards. So their the country's gross happiness index is a little bit different than when we talk about some of these others. Okay, so let me go ahead and kill that. And here is, according to the World Economic Forum, this is a little bit different way of looking at things. What's the ranking of the happiness by those individuals? If you're interested in the full report, you can click on the hyperlink here, but you can see Finland, Norway, Denmark, which we've heard a lot about, especially during the coronavirus and different things that have happened there, and various other countries that you may or may not be familiar with. And this is kind of how we look at it in the standards of GDP and so on. Kind of interesting.